Welcome everybody to Tour Tuesday. Hello.
Hello.
It's June 15th. I can't believe it. We're already in the middle of June, and we're here today to talk about two wonderful trips. Our 3-day trip to Rochester, New York, and a 7-day wonderful vacation to Thunder Bay, Michigan. So I'm thrilled to be here talking to you today. And we're recording this so people can watch it in the future because these are tours that we'll offer again and again and again because they're so wonderful. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Sandy Borowski. I know a lot of you, lots of familiar faces, but lots of new faces as well. So welcome. I normally have my cohort, co-host, partner in crime, Pete Borowski, my husband, sitting next to me. But he is away in California visiting his mom with my youngest son today. So I'm going to try to do this by myself. And like I said a few seconds ago, if I do a good job, please let him know. And if I don't do a good job, please let him know that I did a good job.
Okay.
So I've already called him once for technical assistance and he was able to assist. The answer always is restart your computer. And sure enough, in this case, it did work. So one of these days I'll be able to answer my own questions, but until then, I will just keep asking my husband.
There you go.
So we've got some tour directors on with us. I see Christine Durling, Jean Gray, Kathleen Gillespie, Carol Brown. So wave to if you recognize them, that's great. If you haven't met them yet, hopefully you will meet them. And then we have some special guest tour directors, Bob and Susan Holt, former or owners of Senior Tours. Senior Tours is a company that we combined efforts with a few years ago. And Susan and Bob have been leading what we call a Senior Tours reunion trip every year. And the Senior Tours reunion trip is Rochester. So that's why they're here to listen, because they've actually never been to Rochester. So they're going to learn they've done their homework. They know all about it and how to make you guys have a good time, but they're here to listen to Diana, who's an expert in Rochester. She's waving. And then they're here to chat with you and answer any of your questions. So, and then also coming in as we speak is the one and only Deborah Ayers. And you'll be able to see Deb momentarily. And the reason she's just hooking up now is because she was in the office today until probably 10 after 5. So by the time she got home and got her son dinner, she maybe even had a snack herself, she is just logging on now. So hopefully we'll be able to see her in a few minutes. So I am going to share my screen and hopefully, again, I'm going to do a good job with this. But again, if I don't tell anyone. So we'll start. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Excellent, great. Well, like I said, this is our Tour Tuesday, June 15th version. And I'm going to kick it off. We're going to talk about Rochester first. And I would like to introduce Diana Keating. And Diana is from Visit Rochester. And Visit Rochester is the tourism promotion agency for Rochester and Monroe County. She's been with the organization for 8 years. We know how hard our partners work because they promote Rochester to people all over the US, all over the world. And their goal is to bring people into Rochester so people can discover how wonderful it is. In Diana's spare time, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her baby, almost 2-year-old baby. So thank you, Diana, for joining us today. Let's see, do you want to say a few words? I'll see if I can unshare. There we go. Stop sharing. There we go.
Sure. Thanks everyone for having me this evening. Looking forward to sharing more about Rochester with you all and hope to welcome you all to our beautiful community sometime in the near future, whether on this tour or another. And I think we can kick it off with the video.
Awesome. Perfect timing. We are going to rediscover Rochester right now. Here we go. there we go. So that was a little bit about Rochester. I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and that's going to kick off talking about this trip. So the trip that we're talking about is August 6th through 8th, and it's 3 days and 2 nights. You can see the prices there, and we include 5 meals, which is terrific. And like I said, you'll be with Bob and Susan Holt for that. So wonderful opportunity to get together with them. And at this point, I would like Diana to sort of take it away. She is the expert on Rochester, all things Rochester, and she'll do a better job of talking about this itinerary than I would. So go ahead, Diana.
Thank you. We're thrilled for the opportunity to welcome you to Rochester later this summer. But before you get here, you'll first stop at the Corning Museum of Glass, about 90 minutes south. Corning is the world's largest glass museum with more than 50,000 objects and 3,500 years worth of glass on display. The museum was established in 1951 by Corning Glassworks as a gift to the nation for the company's 100th anniversary. Glass is a versatile ancient material that is still being explored today, and you'll probably find Corning glassware in your everyday life. Chances are your smartphone, your tablet, or smartwatch all have Corning glass as their screen, and you may even have Pyrex Cook and Bakeware, another Corning brand, in your kitchen. After Corning, you'll head up to Pittsford, which is a picturesque suburb of Rochester located along the historic Erie Canal and the oldest incorporated village in New York State. The innovative creation of the Erie Canal had a significant impact on the northeastern United States, and it connected the Great Lakes to the eastern seaboard, creating the first transportation system with the interior of the country that did not require portage. It was faster than carts pulled by draft animals and cut transport costs by over 95%. And the canal gave New York City's port a strong advantage over all other US port cities and ushered in the state's 19th century political and cultural ascendancy. But why is the canal important to Rochester? It put Rochester on the map as America's first boomtown. Thanks to the region's rich agriculture and a 96-foot waterfall in the middle of downtown, flour mills emerged, and with the Erie Canal to transport it, Rochester baking flour was sought after around the world. In fact, it was so highly sought after that 3 barrels were dispatched to Queen Victoria and also led to the creation of the graham cracker. And we can go to the next slide.
Who knew about the graham cracker?
Right?
Wow.
In Rochester, you have the pleasure of starting your day with a visit to the Strong National Museum of Play, which is the largest collection of toys, dolls, and games in the entire world. It's one of the leading museums in the country for families and one of the country's largest history museums. However, don't be fooled. They say that whether you're 9 months or 90, there's something for everyone. What is so wonderful about the Strong is the sense of nostalgia that washes over you as you revisit toys you may have played with as a child. And some of the interesting highlights include the first ever talking doll, and that is not as lovely as it sounds. It actually had a very creepy voice, and they had to actually pull them from the shelves once they were produced. There's also the first Barbie doll modeled after a German doll called Build Lily, and the first ever Monopoly game, which was not square in shape as you may be familiar with today, but was actually round, modeled after the inventor's dining room table. From there, you'll head over to the George Eastman Museum, the National Historic Landmark mansion and gardens of Kodak inventor George Eastman. Eastman was the pioneer of popular photography and motion picture film, and one of the world's largest photography museums is in his home, along with one of the world's oldest film archives, with items in its collection such as the original production of The Wizard of Oz on Technicolor film. In addition to the museum, there's a 500-seat theater that airs more than 300 films a year and is one of just a few venues in the world equipped to handle extremely flammable nitrate film. You'll end the day with a visit to Casa Larga Vineyards, named for the founder's grandparents' farm in Gaeta, Italy. The first harvest arrived in 1978, about 4 years after planting, and resulted in Casa Larga's first vintage and 3 awards at the New York State Wine Competition. They were the 21st winery established in New York State, which is now home to more than 400 wineries. And I highly recommend the Tremonto, which is a red table wine, or the dry rosé. Before you leave our beautiful community, you will enjoy a trolley tour of Genesee Country Village and Museum, the largest living history museum in New York State. It includes a faithfully restored 19th century village and working farm with costumed interpreters, an art gallery, nature center, and 600 acres of cultivated and wild land. The historic village, which includes 68 structures originating from 11 counties in Western New York State, depict how a small town in the region might have changed over time, providing insight into the origins of current customs, traditions, and social values. After lunch at the village, you will sadly depart, but I hope you will have enjoyed your visit so much that you're already planning your return. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diana. I appreciate that. That was awesome. I wanted to point out one thing. We have on our second night, we have a lovely dinner at Boccaccini's Italian Bistro. It's family style and it's a lovely restaurant with a great menu. So that'll be fun to, sit around and chat together, eating family style, at a nice Italian restaurant. So before we move on, does anybody have any questions about our trip to Rochester?
I was just wondering what the weather would be like there.
August is seasonably warm, usually mid upper 70s. Sometimes there's some humidity, sometimes there's not. I can tell you today it was the low 70s and it was beautiful. But we have very nice summer and we're so appreciative of it because of our long winter.
Yes, you didn't see us planning this trip in winter for a reason.
We consider ourselves a beautiful 4-season destination.
Oh. Good answer, Diana. Good answer.
I have a comment. Even though you don't normally plan trips there in winter, we did do one many years ago, which was a New Year's Eve trip to Rochester.
Oh,
It snowed here. It was warm there. And they said it was a Great Lakes effect. I don't know if it was or not, but we had a blast. It was warm. We got to do all the things we need that were scheduled. It did not snow the entire time. So,
I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
Excellent. I'm glad. I can't remember what year that was. I do remember it, but I can't remember what year that was. So that's great. That's great. Well, anybody else is thinking of their questions, we just had another tour director pop on. Jane Peters Estes is on. So go ahead. There she is. Some of you might recognize her from traveling. Bobby, did you have a question?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't catch the price.
Oh, all right. Let me go back to that and I'll share that with you. There we go. So depending on if you're traveling, with somebody else or by yourself, the prices are listed there. I will say we don't have a lot of room left on this trip, which is a great problem to have. So I'm telling you guys now as sort of a, like this is between you and me, call soon to book. Right now, there's a couple places on the tour that are limiting their capacity. So we're limiting the seats on our bus. So maybe we'll be able to open up the seats, but right now we're limiting the capacity due to some of I think it's Casa Larga Vineyards or the restaurant or both.
And I can tell you that New York State just reached 70% vaccination rate today. And I believe with the exception of like gyms and schools and maybe healthcare facilities, most restrictions are being lifted today. So by August, I think you'll be in great shape. We're very excited. They're celebrating across the state tonight with fireworks. So very exciting celebration happening in New York today.
That's awesome. Amazing. Congratulations. That's amazing.
I had nothing to do with it, but I did proudly get my vaccine. So I guess I played a small part.
You did. Exactly. You had a lot to do with it. Absolutely. Those have been good questions so far. Does anybody have any other questions before we move on? Okay. And if you do have a question, you can pop it in the chat. And I will try to remember to look for it since I don't have my husband here reminding me. All right. We are going to pop over and we're going to switch gears. And I'm going to share my screen and introduce Susan Hatcher to you all. First of all, before I introduce Susan, thank you so much, Diana. I really appreciate it. Your knowledge is excellent. If you wouldn't mind staying on in case we have some questions, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So I'm going to turn it over. Well, I'm going to introduce Susan Hatcher. Susan has been working in the tour and travel industry for almost 50 years. She has actually owned her own motor coach tour company, just like Starr Tours. She was a driver for a really long time, and now she gets to promote the state of Michigan and all of what Michigan has to offer, in addition to helping Thunder Bay Resort specifically. So Susan, I would love for you to say hello and introduce yourself.
Well, hello. I think you've pretty much said it all in that. I've had a wonderful time. I've been very lucky. I've been able to travel all over the world and get paid to do it. So it's, and Michigan is a wonderful state. You're going to absolutely love this tour. She's got some of the best things possible put in it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to kick this off with a video as well. I think you'll like this. So stay tuned. Let's get this going.
Step back in time amidst an enchanted forest ablaze with fall color. Board a carriage drawn by a massive team of draft horses for an hour-long ride through the forest in search of the majestic elk. Fall colors are combined with mating season, and the bugling calls of bull elk echo through the woodlands as they compete for cows and battle to establish dominance. From your guide, you will learn the history of these fascinating animals and why they have also been raised in captivity for centuries. Then the carriages continue on to the charming Elk Antler Log Cabin for a delightful gourmet dinner and wine tasting. Hi, I'm Melanie Libby. I'd like to welcome you to Thunder Bay Resort in Hillman, Michigan, where the Matthias family has developed their special elk viewing, sleigh, or carriage ride and gourmet dinners for your enjoyment. It combines a number of unique appeals: nostalgia, wine tasting, and a gourmet dinner served in the beautiful log cabin decorated with trophies, hides, and antique furnishings, a touch of humor from gourmet cook Jan's monologue, magnificent horses, carriages or sleighs, trophy white-tailed deer, and of course, the elk. They all flow together like magic. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, and rave reviews are the normal response. As the Elk Antler Cabin appears, the smell of dinner mingled with wood smoke is in the air. The sound of the big bands are playing on the antique Wurlitzer summon you inside. The cabin is warmed by a massive fieldstone fireplace, and Jan is busy preparing your superb 5-course meal on 2 antique wood cook stoves in full view of all the guests. The menu consists of homemade pear and apple crepes served with large cocktail shrimp. Next is Jan's hearty homemade chicken noodle soup, followed by our signature Thunder Bay sweet Napa salad and a butter croissant. At Thunder Bay, we add all the special touches. The main course is a perfectly prepared crown roast of pork that will almost melt in your mouth, served with red skin potatoes, all cooked in the antique wood cook stoves. Throughout dinner, guests will be able to sample 4 superb fruit wines: pear, blueberry, cherry, and raspberry, as well as traditional Merlot and Riesling table wines. The featured wines are produced at nearby Stony Acres Winery, the first winery on the Sunrise side. Of course, non-alcoholic wine is also available, along with a wonderful Michigan cherry coffee. During dinner, the guides serve wine and also pass among guests with massive shed antlers and the numerous craft items made from the shed antlers. Guests will be amazed to learn of the remarkable healing powers of velvet elk antler and its 2,000-year history as one of the most prized medicines in traditional Chinese and Korean medicine. Many guests have had remarkable results treating over 30 serious illnesses and conditions using velvet antler. The final course is dessert, and it is very special. As guests finish dinner, Jan and her staff are busy filling pizzelles, a thin pastry shell with Jan's special white chocolate mousse. The pizzelles are then topped with raspberry sauce made from locally grown raspberries, sprinkled with white and dark chocolate and topped with whipped cream. It's light, just the right touch. As dessert is relax and enjoy a few of Jan's most entertaining up north stories. As the guests finish exploring the cabin's treasures after dinner, Teamster Alan Sheen hitches up the teams of Belgian and Percheron horses for the return ride through the beautiful pine and hardwood forest. It's like returning to civilization from the late 1800s. Back at the resort's clubhouse, guests can select from gifts and mementos, including Michigan cherry coffee, the wines of Stony Acres Winery, antlers, antler art, and velvet elk antler capsules. The accommodations at Thunder Bay Resort are outstanding. They include deluxe.
All right, I don't want to keep you guys too long, but that was the first 4 minutes, and it was, first of all, it made me really hungry because, you know, it's dinner time for me. So it looked absolutely fabulous, and Susan will talk a little bit more in depth. So I just wanted to whet your appetite, pun intended, so we can talk more about this wonderful trip. So I'm gonna share my screen again. All right. Let's see. So Thunder Bay Resort, we're leaving on July 19th through the 25th, and it's a 7-day trip. We get to stay right at Thunder Bay at their resort where this elk viewing takes place. It's just a wonderful, wonderful trip. We have offered this in the past, not in the past couple years, and it's always been received wonderfully. So the prices are shown there, and we include 10 meals on this trip, which is really amazing. So I am going to have Susan take it away.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me in that. I love to talk about Michigan. You're going to leave the first day, and the first day is a travel day. You're going to come as far as Elyria, Ohio. And then the next day, the tour really begins. You're going to start off with going to the Henry Ford Museum. The Henry Ford Museum is one of the leading museums in the world. It has got so many wonderful things, and the way it's presented makes it fun to go through. There is a section, naturally, with it being the Henry Ford Museum, on cars. But not only do they have these wonderful cars like the 1931 Bugatti Royale, they also have the fun cars like the Wienermobile from Oscar Mayer. And they put it in a setting where you've got the earliest McDonald's, you've got Texaco stations, you've got the things that we remember when the cars first came out, the way America looked at that time. There's another section in that on the history of this country and our route to freedom, starting with a 1938 copy of the Declaration of Independence and the writings of Thomas Paine, who, as a history teacher, I always taught was one of the reasons we won the war, because we got so many people in Europe on our side. And all the way through to the Lincoln Chair and Rosa Parks bus, as well as many other things that show just how this country has gone towards freedom over the years. They also have the presidential limousines. Not all of them, but quite a few, including like Ronald Reagan's, Kennedy's, Dwight D. Eisenhower's, and many others. Another section is on all the innovations that have taken place in this country. The one thing America is known for is our innovations. Even during World War I and World War II, Americans were noted for being able to come up with all kinds of crazy things to make things work. And here we have a whole section on all the innovations that this country has done in farming. We also have the steam engine, railroad exhibits, doll houses from throughout the centuries, modern glassworks, and some things that didn't quite make it, like the Dalmatian house, which only weighed 3,000 pounds. And the idea was that they could put it down just about any place. you're going to be from there going to the Ford Rouge factory. As she mentioned, I drove motor coach for 40 years and I drove tours all over the country. And naturally, I did a lot of factories. Nothing comes even close to comparing with the Rouge factory tour. Prior to driving, I taught school for 10 years and I taught history. And I taught that, you know, Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing. Until I stood in the observation tower and saw over a mile of factory that was built in the early 1900s. And originally, silica sand and iron ore went in at one end and a car came out at the other end. It was literally, the cars were made from scratch. And we're going to see how it's developed. We're going to see the Ford factory now as it makes the F-150s and the amazing difference from when it first started out to what it is now. You'll overnight at the Drury Inn in Troy and then you're going to continue the next day on up to Saginaw, Michigan. You're stopping at Cabela's. Cabela's started out in 1961. Richard Cabela went to a furniture expo in Chicago and bought $45 worth of fishing flies. He tried selling them locally, it wasn't working. So he decided to do it on a national magazine. And that was the start of Cabela's. It worked. He started sending out catalogs to the people that ordered these fish flies. And the next thing you know, you had Cabela's, which has just recently combined with Bass Pro World and is probably one of the largest sports stores in the country when you take all of them into consideration. From there, you're going on up to Thunder Bay Resort, and you're going to spend 2 nights here. Thunder Bay Resort is not only a golf resort, it is also on a 165-acre elk preserve. Because it is an elk preserve, we are able to put food out near the trails. And so as you literally go over the Thunder Bay River and through the woods, you will be able to see elk. And I think they know what we're doing because every time that I've done the tour, when we pull up and stop because we've seen some elk, usually only about 10, 20 feet from us, they stop eating, they raise their head, they pose one way, they turn the other way and pose, and then they go back eating. So I think they know what we're doing because they really join in the fun. You're going to the first night have dinner at the Clubhouse Grill. And then the next day, you're going to go to the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center. We have in Alpena the only freshwater national marine sanctuary in the country. And it is there because of the shipwrecks. The Great Lakes, just the Thunder Bay area, they know of over 200 shipwrecks. And you're going to be learning about some of these. Some of them were weather. There was a storm that came through in the early 1900s. If it would have been in the Caribbean, we'd have called it a hurricane. In the Great Lakes, we just call it a bad storm. But it took out 29 wooden ships and 2 steel ships in one night. Lake Huron, because it connects both Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, has more shipwrecks than any place else. And they have designated this a marine sanctuary to study these shipwrecks and to prevent people from going in and basically robbing the wrecks and salvaging them. We learn from them, and we learn some, like I said, were storms. Some were greed, where they overloaded ships, and some were just plain stupidity. And it's kind of fun learning about all the different things. After lunch, you're going to go to Stony Acres Winery. This is a unique winery because not only will you have wine taste, they also make shipwreck soda there. And it's a great souvenir because every bottle has a different shipwreck on it. And Then you're going to also have chocolate. They also make their own chocolates there and their own truffles. And so you'll have chocolate tasting and winery. Following that, we go to Presqu'île, and there are 3 lighthouses at Presqu'île. Now, Michigan has more shoreline than any other state in the union, and we have 129 lighthouses because of having the shoreline and because of the dangers of traveling on the Great Lakes. You're going to be visiting they've got 3 lighthouses here at Presqu'île. They've got the old lighthouse, which is in 1940. They have the newer lighthouse, which is actually the tallest light on the Great Lakes, and that's the 1870 lighthouse. And then they also have the Harbor Range light, which is actually dedicated to the women who served as lighthouse keepers. Besides that, they have the Fresnel lens. And when I first, started doing the lighthouse tours, I thought, what a cushy life, being able to live in a beautiful setting, and didn't look like there was much to do until I learned about the Fresnel lens. Because they did not have electricity, everything was kerosene lanterns. And if you've ever cleaned a kerosene lantern, you have to do that every day. So every day, the lighthouse keeper had to disassemble, clean, and put back together this lens to get all the soot off it from the previous night. He also had to carry all of the kerosene up to the top of the lighthouse. That took a lot of time. That evening, when you come back to the hotel, you're going to do the elk viewing tour, where you go, it's actually a 3 to 4 hour experience from the time you start until you finish. As you saw in the film, it is a wonderful gourmet dinner. I don't know how many people have told me that it is the most elegant dinner they've ever had on any tour, and I have to agree with them. It is going to be the highlight of your tour. The next day, we're going to leave and come down to Frankenmuth, Michigan. Frankenmuth, Michigan was started back in the 1845 by 15 Lutheran missionaries. And they estimate that about 3.25 million people visit it every year now. It has 1 mile of shopping and all kinds of attractions for you to enjoy. And one of my favorites is they have a glockenspiel. And 4 times a day, the glockenspiel does the Pied Piper. It does the story of the Pied Piper as the clock strikes. And that's a lot of fun to watch. You are also going to be visiting Bronner's. Now, Bronner's was founded by Wally Bronner, and it is literally the world's largest Christmas store. The retail floor itself, just the shopping area, is 1.5 football fields. It's a football field and a half, and has over 50,000 Christmas items in it. Many of them just one of a kind that you cannot find anyplace else but Frankenmuth. They also have the Silent Night Memorial Chapel that you can visit. And this is an exact replica of the church in Oberndorf, Austria, where the hymn Silent Night was first performed. Bronner's electric bill averages about $1,250 a day, with all the Christmas lights and everything throughout the store. Then in the afternoon, you are going to board the Bavarian Belle. This is an authentic stern-driven paddle wheel riverboat, and you're going to take a tour of Frankenmuth and just basically sit back and enjoy the beauty of the river. In the evening, you've got a family-style dinner at the Bavarian Inn. Now, the Bavarian Inn started out as the Union House Hotel. And in 1950, a farmer and his wife purchased it. And that was Dorothy and William. and they changed it to the Bavarian Inn. Dorothy is 99 years old, and she still works in the kitchen every day to make sure that your meal is going to be good. The restaurant seats over 1,200 people, and it serves over 1 million meals annually. And Dorothy is there to make sure that they're done right. The next day, we start off with Bronner's. I kind of got that out of line. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Then you continue to Meadowbrook Hall. Meadowbrook Hall is a medieval, it's a Tudor revival style mansion. And it is the grandest mansion of the Otto Baron homes. It is 88,000 square feet. Now, if you stop and think, the average home is around 2,000 square feet. That's over 40 homes. It's a subdivision. Okay, you're not going to see all the rooms. We don't have time for that, but you will see the main rooms. Most mansions, as you travel around the country, are named after the men who were the owners of the home. This one is known as Matilda Dodge Wilson's home. Matilda Dodge Wilson was one of the wealthiest women in the world. She married Francis Dodge, who with his brother founded the Dodge Motor Company. And when he passed away, she inherited his fortune. She then married the lumber baron, Alfred Wilson. And when he passed away, she got his fortune also. So not only was she very wealthy, and the home reflects that. I mean, the artwork and everything in this home is absolutely outstanding. But she was also the first woman in the United States to serve as a lieutenant governor of one of the states. She also co-founded Oakland University. When she started it, when it began as the Oakland campus of Michigan State University, it was built on her 1,400-acre estate. And within a few years, it attained its own accreditation, and it's now Oakland University and is one of the major universities in the country. She retired from Meadowbrook Hall after she got Oakland University going and moved to a smaller home that she had built, which was Sunset Terrace. And she was there until the late 1960s when she passed away. After leaving there, you're going to spend the night at the Country Inn and Suites back in Elyria, Ohio. And then the next day, you're heading home. And you will have seen some of the highlights of Michigan, but not all of them. You've got to come back again. I could go on and on about all the things you're not seeing, but Sandy doesn't want me to do that.
There's no doubt that you have information on anything related to Michigan, and in this case, Ohio as well, possibly. So,
Yes.
So thank you, Susan, for your knowledge. I learned a lot. The first thing I learned was how to say eel, Presque Eel. I have been saying Presque Isle. So,
Well, it's if you are down at the one in Detroit, there is a Presque Isle in Detroit spelled exactly the same. That's on the Detroit River. But the one up in northern Michigan is called Presque Isle, just to be different. They're both spelled the same, but they're pronounced different, which really confuses people.
Absolutely. I want to really focus on the highlight of this tour, which is the elk viewing experience, which we watched the video about, and I shared some information. So if anybody has any questions about that specific part of this trip or any other part of the trip, now would be a great time to ask. Again, you can just start talking or raise your hand or put it in the chat, whatever works for you. But we have quite a quite knowledgeable person here to help us
Well,
answer these
The meal itself, the carriage tour is an hour, but the meal itself is almost 2 hours because of it is the 5-course meal that you saw there. And throughout the meal, I don't know if anybody mentioned, they serve wine throughout the meal, so you can drink all the wine you want. And they have wine tasting. So they do it very relaxed because with that much food, you don't want to eat fast. And throughout it, they are, as the video said, they are talking about the elk, about their mating habits. They bring around an antler for you to hold. Those things weigh 30 pounds apiece. And they talk about the velvet antler, which is when the antler is growing. Antlers come off every March and they grow back within about a month and a half. They grow about 3/4 of an inch a day. And it's all stem cell technology that, or, stem cells when they're growing. And as we know, that's now something we're starting to study more and more, and the value of it. So we go through all of that. It's a fascinating tour.
3/4 of an inch each day?
Yes.
That's,
Well, look how huge they are, and they do it within a month.
oh my gosh.
I mean, they've got to grow fast, otherwise they wouldn't get it all grown in that short time.
I can gain that weight that fast, so I guess. That's great. It sounds like a wonderful, wonderful evening and an event. And that's very nice that you have the elk trained to be photogenic.
I'm serious. I have, every time they have posed for us, you get wonderful pictures.
Has anyone here done this trip?
I've been here, we've been.
Yeah, we have.
Excellent. What do you guys think?
The dinner is awesome.
It is.
The lodge is real nice. The dinner is something else.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very special place. I kind of did it later in the career and you become a little jaded maybe, but it's an extremely special place, and was lucky enough to play golf too. So if people are thinking about signing up, it's a very nice golf course and very reasonably priced. Greens fees aren't bad at all. So you can get on there. But
Good to know.
both Susan and Diana did a great job there. We're looking forward to especially going up to Rochester, since it's one of the few places we have not been to. So we look forward to working with her and you as always.
It was hard for me to find a place that you hadn't been.
Yeah. Well, the two of us, and neither one of us have been there. But
That's
as
great.
I said, that if you're thinking about maybe signing up, the Thunder Bay Resort really makes it special.
Great. Thank you for that insight. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, I'll start. Deb, hold on. It looks like Deb is raising her hand. Deb, you're raising your hand, but you're on mute. So I'm not sure if you meant to or not. But if you want to say hello, unmute yourself. And we would love to see your face too. While she's figuring out that technology, God knows if she will figure it out or not. I'm going to promote our next Tour Tuesday, which is on June 29th. We are going to be talking about Girlfriend's Getaway, which is to Richmond, Virginia, and our solo travelers trip to Delaware. So we invite all solo travelers or girlfriends or anyone to attend on June 29th at 6 p.m. So we'll be back. Deb just sent me a message, by the way. She wants to go to Thunder Bay. So I'll tell you all now, I'm not even messaging her back. No.
Yes, I want to go.
Oh, no, now you can hear me.
I want to go. You gotta take off. I've been in here incognito. Sorry.
Deb's, she had a hard day. We'll let you go incognito. You've had a busy day.
Carry on.
It is now time to select the $25 gift card winner. And our winner tonight, I have to tell you, I had to do it a little differently because Pete helps me pick a random number and then we do a reset here. So I've had to do a little different system here. So my winner for today is Kathy Bartle. So Kathy Bartle, let's see, can we see? Oh, there she is. She's waving. So you are the winner of a $25 gift card. Will she put it to Thunder Bay? Will she put it to Rochester? We don't know. We don't know. But she's the winner, and we'll have another winner in 2 weeks when we join everyone again for Tour Tuesday. Like I said earlier, I think maybe even before we started recording, it has been extremely busy in the office, which is a wonderful, great thing. We are all working very hard. We work with smiles on our faces because we're so happy with what we do. But sometimes we're out of breath because we work so hard. We hang up the phone and pick up the next call, et cetera, et cetera. But if you do happen to call and you can't get through, just go ahead and leave a message and we will call you back. We promise we will call you back on the same day that you called. And we do want to talk to you. So it's just that there's only, a few of us and we're trying to do everything at once. So we will get back to you. We want to book everybody on all the trips that you want to take. Anita asked a question, will there be a link sent for June 29th? Yes, we will send an email blast like we do before each one, but at any time, in fact, I'm going to take this opportunity to, let me see if I have, hold on. Let's see if I have a window up. I wanted to show everybody. Yes, I do. I want to show everybody something real quick. So let's see. On our website, this is the Tour Tuesday page. So you get to this page by going to Starr's homepage. This is Starr's homepage. Click on Tours, and you see this menu here, and we just select Tour Tuesday. So that's how we get to the Tour Tuesday page. And you can register here for all of the different Tour Tuesdays. Okay, so if you want to register for next week, you just go to this page and click to register. And if you scroll down, you will see the video recording library of all of the past Tour Tuesdays that we have done. So if you missed our Nova Scotia, or if you want to learn more about what's going on with Carnival Cruise Lines, this is where you go. You just scroll down and you can play all the videos that you want to play. So that's sort of a handy dandy feature on the Tour Tuesday page. So, and while I'm here, I might as well point out that you can make a payment online in our secure web payment portal. And you can learn about what's going on with COVID right now and travel. You can refer a friend if you'd like, buy a gift card, learn about our tours. So lots that you can do from this tours menu right here. And I encourage you to do that. So at this time, I would like to thank all of you for attending. And I would especially like to thank our presenters. I thank Susan and Diana from Rochester and Susan from Michigan, especially Thunder Bay. You guys were a wealth of knowledge, and we are so thankful to be partners with you. So we appreciate taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here with us tonight. And I would like to thank the tour directors for attending. And I would like to thank Deborah Ayers for making her day a little bit longer today. Bob and Susan, thank you as well. It was great to see you. We look forward to your trip and having a full busload of people that want to see Rochester and want to be with you as well. So thank you both for attending. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So until June 29th, sayonara, everybody. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We really are glad you're here.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the
Bye.
card.
You're welcome, Kathy. I'm glad you're happy.
I'll use it.
Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
See you, Sandy.